Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys this ninja activity that I did with my students today. So the goal of this activity was basically to get the students to read, right? So my students don't really like to read. So what I decided to do is add some fun to basically a little reading activity that I was thinking about doing. So basically every station, there was 5 stations in total. So I put a little paper on the top just to show them where each station was. I basically had a little reading sheet with some questions, so it was very simple. So for the first 5 minutes of every station, what they did was pretty simple. They sat down, and I had to make sure they were sitting down, right? So they sat down, had to be completely quiet, and they read. Then after reading, right, after the first 5 minutes, I gave them about, another 4 or 5 minutes to do a little short activity, right? So that's the part that makes this pretty fun, and again, motivates the students to do the reading, and gets them engaged in the lesson. So the whole idea behind it was like a ninja training camp. So that was the whole premise of the lesson. So what they had to do, for example, starting with station 1, what they had to do is they had to read about how the ninja used their bows and arrows. And basically, after answering the questions, what they did is I had this little bow and arrow that the students used, and they hit the target, right? So they kept track of their scores on the whiteboard, and basically they got to shoot this little cool bow and arrow that I bought for like 20 bucks. But again, there's a bunch of variations. You can even just do it with a paper ball, right? Have them shoot at the target. Then for station 2, what I had them do is I had them read about castles, essentially, that the ninjas had to attack. And basically after that, I had 2 variations of this. So first I used these little straw things that my wife let me borrow. She's a 2nd grade teacher, to build the castle. It didn't work out as I thought. It was kind of cool because they glue in the dark and everything, but it didn't really work out that well. So I ended up just having the students draw a castle, right? So for the other periods, I just had them draw a castle, basically of based on the different pictures that I had printed out for them. Then for station 3, I needed some downtime, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on, as you're gonna see, at the same time, right? So this is all happening at the same time. So basically what I had them do for station 3 is sit down on the floor, and just like a ninja would, and there's a description of how that would be on the reading sheet, they had to sit down and basically have their feet crossed, right, on the floor, and they basically had to sit down and meditate and just kind of relax, right? So there's a description of it in the reading passage that talks about meditating and how that was so important for ninjas. So they sat down basically and just were quiet, right? And reflected on whatever the passage said, right? So that one's a pretty simple one. And again, because there's a lot of high level or high energy, different little stations, I wanted one that was a little more calm, right? Then station 4, this one was really fun. So basically it was a little obstacle course. That after they read, right, they read about how the ninja had to be sneaky when attacking castles and so on to not be detected. Then I had a little obstacle course where the students had to go through the little strings and basically without touching any of the strings, right? So some of the things to look to is basically, or to look out for, is to tell the students don't go on top of the tables, right? So they were really excited to do it. So some of them were like trying to put their butts on the table as they try to get through the obstacle course, and I ended up telling them no, we're not doing that, right? So this is the first time I ever do it. I just came up with this lesson, so those are some things to look out for. Then station 5 is pretty simple. I had some of my students make some ninja stars and some samurai hats, and essentially they had to just shoot the samurai hats, right? So after reading about, again, the little passage that goes along with it about ninja stars and the different weapons that they use, they got to then throw the ninja stars one at a time, right? So it's a really fun lesson. It really got them engaged, and it really motivated them to, again, sit down, read, answer the questions, and then do a little fun activity, right? So I made sure that the students were done with the reading and the answering of the questions before they got to do the fun activity, right? I also made this little ninja poster, printed one out, and I had a little stand for it, and basically I had that on the outside of the classroom as the students were coming in to get them excited about what was going to happen today in class. So again, the most important thing is having downtime, right? So after a very high level fun little activity, boom, I'll tell them, okay, now move to the next station, sit down, be quiet, and read. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to do the activity, right? So I had textbook pages ready for any students that couldn't behave, send them out to another class maybe, where they can read out of the textbook, answer questions. So again, I didn't really have that many issues because they were so excited about being able to do the activities, right? So definitely incorporating a little fun short activity as an incentive after every reading passage really gets the students to sit down and read and answer the comprehension questions. So again, a really fun little lesson that you can try out with your class, or even if it's not about ninjas, right? You can do this about so many other things, right? Just have a little short activity at the end of every station. Definitely motivates the students.